Hey everybody, welcome to the JLash show. My name is Jackson Lasher. Welcome back to episode 22. So now we're going to be talking about the NFL. So first off, Dolphins Terran Armstead is retiring after 12 seasons. So good job to him. He's made it. So congratulations to him. So good job on your 12 seasons. So now there's a report that the Titans canceled private workout with Shadur Sanders, which is kind of crummy because I think he was, I mean, I don't know, but I think he was a pretty good player. So, I mean, you shouldn't have canceled it, but like, you should have seen how like it went. So now, Travis Hunter said Goodell better say wide receiver and DB with his name, which means I think he's a pretty good wide receiver and DB. So we'll have to see about that. Seven-time Pro Bowler Julio Jones is retiring. So good job to him, Julio Jones. I think he was pretty good. So good job and good luck in retirement. So Trey Lance is going to join the Chargers after his Cowboys stint. So there's not much in NFL free agency. So yeah, whatever. But so now we're going to talk about the NBA, which they're starting to get closer to their postseason. I think they only got like 3 or 4 games left, if I'm right. So let's get to the NFL. Excuse me, NBA news. So the Giannis hit Giannis second straight triple double helps the Bucks overheat in overtime. So I think that Giannis is pretty good. So the Greek freak is what they call him because he's from Greece. So he's amazing. So he's better than Embiid. There. I said it because he is better than Embiid. He's younger, and he doesn't get injured so badly. So uh Zach Edey grabs career high 21 rebounds in Grizzlies win over Pistons because Zach Edey is overall a pretty good basketball player. He's tall and can nab rebounds pretty easily, but he probably doesn't score as much points as some people think he does, which, whatever, he just kind of has to, you know. So now Carl Anthony Towns helps Knicks overwhelm Hawks, which the Hawks probably aren't as good over the Knicks because the Hawks they're a little subpar, but the Knicks are a really good team this year, so they are. I think we'll have to see if they clinch a playoff spot. They might have already, but I'm not sure. I'm not like keeping my eye on them, so. Um, the Pistons' Malik Beasley becomes fourth player in NBA history to drill 300 triples in single campaign, which is pretty good for Malik Beasley. I think he played for the Bucks before, so I think he is a pretty good NBA player if he is setting records. So uh, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic have put on MVP race for the ages, which they are both very good basketball players, if you ask me, because SGA is just young. He's got all the talent. Jokic, he's also electric, but he's also lazy. Yeah, he's a lazy basketball player, but he's overall very good. So and the ant climbs ladder for nasty poser on the 76ers Adam Bono, which pretty much just grabs our entire franchise. So I'm not shocked there because Anthony Edwards is pretty good. All right, Bucks secure ninth straight postseason appearance, which for the Bucks, that's amazing. So all I have to say is good job to them. So yeah, the Blues set franchise record for, or this is NHL news now. So Blues set franchise record for 12 straight wins, which is amazing. So I'm not like really shocked. So now Crosby says Ovechkin is pretty incredible for what he has done that season, which I am very shocked because Alex Ovechkin, he, I mean, he's amazing. Like 895 goals. Congrats to him. He totally deserves it. So, Canadians top Flyers for the fourth straight win, which the Flyers, they're supposed to be tanking, so that's not a shock. Now, Nylander and Robertson each scored twice as Maple Leafs, blank Blue Jackets. So, not really much for NHL news. So, for MLB, not much. A Nick Castellanos grand slam is absolutely amazing for the Phillies. That pretty much caused us to win, but like then the Dodgers came back and the Phillies won in an absolute thriller. Uh, Jose Alvarado came to close it out for the Philadelphia Phillies, and with him just absolutely throwing gas, he was able to close it out. And congrats to him. So Christopher Sanchez had a subpar game. He had 9 strikeouts, but he could definitely improve. So, definitely, he can improve a little bit. But overall, he kept it from having, like, keeping it, the game from being a blowout. So, I got to give him credit for that. So, not much for really any MLB news, just for the Phillies. I mean, they've been doing very excellent. So we are going to bring on our sports analyst here, Maddie Couchner. How you doing, Maddie?
I'm doing all right.
Good. Can you give us
Yeah,
a rundown of what happened in sports these past few days?
like can tell you this. Can start with the Phillies. The Phillies, if I put it blunt to you, they're really they need to improve their pitching depth, and because Romana is not it, the 3-4-5 guys in the rotation aren't it. And the quite fair, aside from Castellanos, Harper, and a few of the young guys, the Phillies lineup hasn't shown me much yet. And by the way, the reason Nick Castellanos homered was because Alex Ovechkin passed Wayne Gretzky in all-time goals. So just putting that one up to you. Anyway, the NCAA championships are happening. The women's championship happened yesterday, which UConn they won their 12th title under Coach Gino. Does that tell you something about the program? It's a very good program. You know, they faced 3 1 seeds. And if I had the combined score of those games, I would show it to you. But since I don't, all I can tell you is they held their 1 seed opponents in the Final Four to under 60 points.
Really?
And out for the men's news. It's Florida versus Houston night. Both teams have a lot to prove. Both teams need to fight off the jitters. But the biggest key is Florida needs to get off and running. Houston needs to weather the storm for the first 7 to 10 minutes of the half, and if they do that, they'll be in a position to win the game. Because if if Florida gets out off and running like they usually do, then who knows? Could be a blowout.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, this is going to be a
And that's
pretty good matchup. So I think
going
yeah,
to be
Houston against Florida, both number one
yeah.
seeds are, I think, are going to do amazing.
Well, everyone writ off Houston, including me. I wrote off Houston because they are playing Duke, and I thought there's no way in hell this Big Ten team can beat a Duke team that has been lights out all year and scoring just as much as Alabama on the good day. But they did. Duke blew a 14-point lead, and Houston coach Kelvin Sampson, he is a great coach, and he's basically just said in his post-game presser, never count us out. And he's right, because that Houston team is a great team. And Houston has what it takes to win the national championship. It's just, will they weather the storm? Look where they have come from. They were in the American Athletic Conference not even 3 years ago. and they've made one Elite Eight and two Final Fours in those stints.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that really does sound amazing.
Hmm. And
So,
as for other news here in the MLB, we have seen a steady rate of decline from some teams and a steady rate of uphill from some teams that want to contend this year that haven't contended in recent years. And I think some of that has to do with the age gap in the teams. These young and hungry teams that come and play on a daily basis, they are looking to make the playoffs with this expanded playoffs that we had for 3 years now. And the teams that have older players like the Phillies, I
yeah.
think I think really need to wake up a little bit, know where the culture is going, know where the players are going, and really step it up because the Phillies have playoff potential, except they're really not showing it from their first 9 games of the year. Which
Yeah.
I'm not taking off. Winning 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers is a really good thing, but it's the other teams they've played and the other teams they've lost to. You can't lose to the Nationals. You can't you can't lose to the Dodgers. Really, well, you can lose to the Dodgers. It's just how much can you lose to the Dodgers because the Dodgers are a good team. And a press reporter told, or Dave Roberts told a press reporter that they want Shohei Ohtani to be back and starting the ace for the Dodgers in the playoffs when they if they get there. And they want him realistically, I think they should get him back really before the September call ups. Do a few rehab assignments down in AAA and AA. But then he'll be back up really before the September call ups, and then I'll get some games under his belt. And then I have for the NBA. The NBA playoffs are starting. They are. It's coming up. I think the last games of the year are the 19th, and it's going to be a very interesting ride. You have teams that haven't made it before, haven't will have made it before, haven't made it in a long time, and you got teams that are the regulars. But what's interesting to see is these teams that want to play spoiler that are out of the playoffs can really impact seeding. It has seemed to me that the seeding impact is crucial. The 76ers would have been a 6 seed last year or a 5 seed last year if it wasn't for they lost the last game of the season and then settled for a play-in, which caused them to go and lose to the Knicks. And then you get a team like Cleveland who says to playing a team that's maybe already made the playoffs, but they want to try and bump Cleveland's seed down or bump Boston's seed down, and it could really impact them. Now,
Yeah.
I'd say, the dark horse in this playoffs is the Detroit Pistons. Because if you see where they went from last year, lost
Oh
the
yeah.
first overall pick, had a 28 game losing streak
And
to make the
and
playoffs,
are
it's
they
an
gonna make the
amazing
playoffs
feat.
this year?
Yeah, they clinched.
Wow. That's impressive.
And
So
then, like,
yeah. This I remember this that team last year. I mean, they sucked. Like It was so bad. I thought they were gonna be bad like that like this year, but now it looks like they like upped their game and like that now they're playing
It
great
just
like offense and defense.
yeah, it just shows how one off season can impact a franchise. It happened with the Thunder. It happened with the Pistons. It happened with the Sixers. If you put it in Sixers terms, the 76ers went from good-ish to almost getting the first pick, even though it probably won't happen. The Thunder went from a team that was just happy to be in the NBA from now to being the number one seed back to back years. And then if you look, whatever team that I say, I said the Pistons, you could go from 28 point, no, a 28 game losing streak, finally winning that first game, and then setting yourself up for the future. You may not have gotten the first overall pick like you wanted, but at least you got capital. You got very good players, a new head coach that likes, that knows how to run the system, that knows how to make the players go where they fit best. You know, this is why I think the Sixers this year can be compared to the Pistons of last year. Because
Yeah,
Nick Nurse does not know anything, really.
agreed.
He signed Paul George for the league max, who all he's done this year has cost us game winners and sat on his podcast. And then you got a guy like Embiid, who is injury prone, and I think they rushed him back too soon because now he might be out for the first couple games of next season.
Was that what they said?
And he's getting arthroscopic knee surgery, so pretty bad
Yes.
surgery.
So, yeah, he was gonna be out for like the remainder of the season.
He got, I think he had surgery Monday.
Oh, I mean, at least he got surgery and is able to kind of like heal over the off season.
Yeah, I don't think he'll participate in training camps. I think that once the Sixers find a plan, they'll execute it because right now with the Sixers had some good young players come up from the G League, which the Sixers had one of the best G League teams for like the past 3 years, and now they've finally cooled off. But that's because the Sixers have called all of them up, and it shows how deep a team or an organization can be. But it also shows how injury prone a team is by the fact that multiple Delaware Bluecoats players had to come up and play for them.
Yeah, I mean that shows how bad our team is. I mean at least they're like young players that can do like a lot, but like still they're like young players that like should
And
be
it's
definitely
not
down in the G League for a few more years.
it's not even that they're bad. It's just that they're too injury prone.
Yeah,
Paul
way too
George,
injury prone.
Paul George. I'll say this about Paul George. Paul George got his bag, decided to not try anymore. Meanwhile, I don't even know if Tyreek Maxey get a new contract yet. He might have. You got to fact check me on that, but he's got a lower salary than Embiid, George. He get a lower salary than Matisse Thybulle
Oh,
in his first couple of years.
I ever remember Matisse Thybulle.
It's really sad, man. That's why I'm comparing the Sixers to the Pistons because they don't know where they're going. But a good coaching change would be very good. There are some immaculate assistant coaches that are available for hire that can lead teams to victory. The
You're right.
Sixers are a top 10 caliber team. They have showed it in past years. The fact that they are not showing it now, and the fact that probably in the next 2 years they won't still show it, is just a tragedy for Philadelphia sports.
Agreed.
And
Uh,
I'm going to say this, moving on to the NFL now. Shador Sanders did have a workout, a pro day with the Colorado Buffaloes, his college team, and he was throwing some good dimes to another probably third round pick, Jimmy Horn. And let's be clear here. The only reason that Shador Sanders probably didn't get the invite to the private workout for Tennessee was because his dad said no. Because
ooh, I didn't know that.
his, Dion wants his son to go to either New York, Dallas, or another big market team.
Didn't know
Because
that. That's an interesting fact.
it's a very interesting fact.
Yeah. Anything you got to say for the NFL?
Oh, yes, I just want to give my props to Julio Jones. He was an immaculate ball player.
Yeah.
And another thing, we have the draft coming up in about
Yeah, the
two
yeah, the draft
weeks.
soon, yeah.
I think Cam Ward will be number one. And I think the Browns might be holding out to buy a quarterback this year because they have Kenny Pickett. So they might draft Abdul Carter from Penn State. Then the
Okay.
Giants have the third pick, which is telling because if he doesn't get taken in the first 2 rounds, I think Dion might force the Giants to pick him, even though they have two quarterbacks. So it's very interesting on how they're going to play that out. And really, the top priority in this draft, I think, since multiple quarterbacks are entering their golden age, and I don't think there's going to be much of a demand at quarterback unless the situation is dire or they want to have someone prepared for the future. Like, say the Rams trade up and draft Jackson Dart. Like, that would be a good pick for them because he can develop under Matthew Stafford, who only just got a 1 year extension. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see where Aston Genty goes in the draft because he's been linked to the Cowboys, but quite frankly, just gonna go out on a limb and say this might be my hottest take ever on this show. But Aston Genty's not that first round pick
Ooh.
because if you look at who he played, arguably the toughest team he played was Oregon in the second game of the season when Oregon was all discombobulated. And his next toughest game was Penn State, where he still got 100 yards, but he did not have the best game under the spotlight with multiple scouts in attendance. I don't know what his combine stuff was. I didn't see his pro day stuff yet, but I just don't think that he's worthy of a first round pick.
All right. I could agree with you.
Well, and there's a reason behind it. It's because if you look, Boise State is supposed to be a contender for the Mountain West. they didn't expect Genty to take the leap that he did. And I think he probably got robbed of a Heisman. But to be honest, it really shouldn't have been Travis Hunter either. Because Travis Hunter wasn't even top five in both of his positions. But since the Heisman committee, just wanted a big name to win the Heisman, they gave it to Travis Hunter because there really wasn't no option to who was going to win the Heisman.
That all you gotta say?
Uh, no, it's actually not.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, Maddie. See you next episode.
Wait, can I just say one more thing before I go? I just want
Yeah,
to say another thing in this draft is going to be what can these general managers that need to build a young core do? Because if you look at it, I think the Eagles still have some players that are aging in some positions and need or a placement. And that another thing that goes for the Chiefs, the Bills, basically the whole NFC West. Pete Carroll needs to show up into draft. John Harbaugh needs to draft some receivers. Jim Harbaugh needs to draft some receivers. The every top name quarterback needs to be happy. And we don't want another Rodgers situation. You know what happened with Aaron Rodgers after the draft in 2022?
no.
Rodgers was pissed at the Packers organization for flat out not drafting him a receiver of high quality. They could have traded up to get a receiver like some other teams did in that draft, but they didn't. And remember, Rodgers is still looking for a team. So if the team like the Steelers and I believe the Giants, which I don't even know how I'm saying that but he's still on the Giants and Steelers radar. How will they draft? Because if the Steelers draft well enough, Aaron Rodgers is a Steeler. But if the Giants draft well enough, then Aaron Rodgers might be a Giant.
All right.
So we'll see how that goes.
All right, Maddie.
And
Well, you have yourself a good night, all right?
you too.
All right. See ya. All
See ya.
right. Well, that pretty much is it for the JLash show. Like, subscribe on our social media. And also, the Hatters are having a dual meet with Quakertown and Abington, so come watch your Hatters. Make sure you layer up. Have a good day, JLash Show Nation.